This is Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional intelligence. I'm Diane Dye Hansen, management consultant, and with me is my co host, Christine Salvo, therapist, certified mediator, and certified hypnotherapist.
Good morning. Hello, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. And today we have with us Whitney Bonds. And Whitney is the founder of the award winning website Tried and True Mom Jobs. From a marketing manager to a successful work from home mom, she shows parents how to make money from home from people who are doing it today. Check out the website at triedandtruemomjobs.com. Hello, Whitney.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And, when we scheduled this, I had no idea exactly how topical our conversation was going to be
I
today.
know.
But it is so important now for people who haven't worked from home before to either secure a work from home job or learn how to improve their productivity at home.
Yeah.
So let's start out with you. How did you come to start triedandtruemomjobs.com?
Well, it all started when I became pregnant with my daughter, my second child. And I just had this mindset shift that I no longer really cared to climb the corporate ladder. I really wanted just to be home and be there with my babies. But my husband and I, we were living on a two-household income. So I knew before I could just quit my job, I had to figure out a way to supplement my income. So I started to look for ways to make money from home online, and I couldn't find anything legitimate. I really wanted to know what moms were actually doing that they could do at home with kids, and I couldn't find that. So instead of just being frustrated and not finding anything out there, I decided to reach out to work from home moms to see what they do, how do they do it at home with kids, how much they earn, and just how could I get started, and just to know what my options were. So I interviewed them, I documented it, and I created a website to share their stories for people like me looking for legitimate ways to make money from home. So that's kind of really how it all started.
That's brilliant. I love that.
Thank
How
you.
many how many people did you end up interviewing?
I interviewed maybe like a little bit over 26. It continues to grow.
That's
So the more
amazing.
people that I meet, the more, yeah.
Mhm.
It's
And I
it's
agree with
been
that. It's like I don't know, on my old commute to work when I used to drive to work, you see these kind of on the side of the lamppost, and it's like work from home, $1,000 a week. It's just like
right, right.
there's and then there's just like this weird phone number or and you're right, the legitimacy is the issue, right? So I'm
Yes,
really curious
exactly.
kind of what you found.
Yeah, no problem. And that was definitely, I was looking for things online, and they were just, you know how they say if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And that was the case for many things. So that's why instead of just hearing what some options were, I wanted to actually see that someone is doing this today and how much they earn and things like that. So, and just how I could even get started. So that's really kind of the basis of it. And I wanted to call it tried and true so people would know that these are legitimate ways that people are actually doing it today.
Mhm.
But if
How
you want
long
me to go
ago was
into,
that?
oh, so I launched the website at the end of January in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had stumbled upon some jobs that were not legitimate. What are some signs that a job might not be legitimate? I know if it sounds too good to be true, but if there are some specifics that you can really look for and go, oh yeah, that's probably not legitimate.
Sure. So I would say anything, any company that's asking for money up front for equipment or something like that, that's definitely a red flag. There, you should never be paying anything up front. You really have to be careful if someone is just trying to ask for your personal information up front, like your social security number and things like that. So those are just red flags right there. And even if you just look at the email addresses that are being sent to you, if they look kind of weird or kind of funny, I always just say at the end of the day, just trust your gut and pretty much just run, because you don't want to put any of your information out there. And another thing I definitely suggest is if a company is reaching out to you, you can always check websites like glassdoor.com to see if it's to check its legitimacy and to see what the employees are saying about that company, to really see, is this a real company, and what are people saying about working there. So I definitely recommend just Glassdoor.com. That's one of my biggest resources that I go to make sure that this company is legit.
Right. Yeah. Glassdoor and Indeed both have employer
Yeah, oh,
reviews
definitely,
that you can
Indeed.
look at. And
Yes,
yeah, that's important to determine whether a company is real or not. There's so many remote job opportunities now. And I think one of the side benefits of this time in our lives is that companies are going to become more and more open to remote work. So
exactly.
finding work from home jobs and a strategy behind doing that will grow in importance. So
Definitely.
so when someone is seeking a work from home job, what are kind of some best practices, things that they might want to do? How is it different from a traditional, office job search? Is there anything different?
I would say that you feel I don't want to say guilty, but you feel like you have to have them trust you more that you are really doing your work because no one is watching you. So you kind of you go a little over and beyond just because you want to prove to them that you are doing the work. So definitely I think sometimes you might even work harder working from home just to try and overcompensate to make sure that you even feel to yourself that you're doing something. And what was the question again? I just forgot.
So when you're looking for a remote or work from home job, might there be things that are different in the process and different in the interview process, different in how you present yourself?
Yes, and even with today's technology, you can still have face-to-face interviews with things like Skype. So it doesn't also take away that you just will never see the person you may work for, but with technology and how it has worked now, you can definitely have interviews over Skype, and that's probably the biggest thing that you just won't be actually working with someone so close to someone where they can actually see you and make sure that you're doing what you have to do. But that's pretty much, I think to me, that might be the biggest thing. And obviously you're alone, you're not around with anyone else. So if you are one of those people that like to be around people, just working from home may not be for you. But but I have found that I'm an extrovert, but I really do enjoy working from home just because the freedom of it is one of the things I love so much, and not having to get dressed and having the daily commute. So there's so many benefits to working from home. But it takes someone who is uh pretty much what's the word,
High
they don't have to be
self-management.
micromanaged.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So self-motivated
Yes,
and
self-motivated. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Yes.
right, disciplined. That's probably a big deal,
Yep,
right?
exactly. Yep.
So
Hmm.
how have you made this work in your life? What could if I went on your website, number one, what would I see? And number two, how have you integrated this lifestyle? So I'm guessing that you've done it, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yes.
You're
So
doing
I
it,
work
yeah.
from home. Yeah, so I think one of the ways I've been able to do it is just creating a routine for myself. So early mornings, I typically get the work done, especially with kids at home. It's really just trying to have a established routine. So because I work early mornings during nap time and at night. So I have very short
Mm.
windows that I have to really keep myself very like laser focused. So there's no social media. I have to turn my phone off or turn it down to make sure that I'm not being distracted because I have such a short window to really get as much work as I can done before the kids wake. So that's my personal story. But I think with anyone, I was listening to this podcast the other day and it was saying to choose your heart. So whatever you have that you have to do that you normally don't like to do, try and get that done first, or at the most time that you like to be productive, get that done first, and then everything else will kind of come easy. You just kind of got to get over that hurdle of whatever that main goal that you have to get done that day so we get done.
Right. There's kind of a measure of self-hacking, so to
Yeah,
speak.
exactly.
You have to hack your own productivity and figure out how you work best from home.
Right.
And I've worked from home full time since 2016 as a consultant, but off and on since 2009.
Oh, so you know
And
this very well.
yeah, so and what I can say about that too is that having a dedicated place to work, having a structure, having one of those spots. So I like to say I have 4 different offices in my home. And depending on how I need to shift my energy, I go to those different offices to shift my
That's so
energy.
true.
If I'm
Yeah,
feeling low energy, I will leave the little place I have set up in my bedroom and I will move to the living room on the couch where there's more natural sunlight.
exactly.
I have learned I cannot work from my back patio. My back patio is far too lovely.
You just end up staring at the whatever.
It is. I end up soaking up the sun, but the other thing is that when you're trying to work outside, you have reflection on your computer screen, so it actually slows down productivity. So
That's so true.
there's all these things when you're working from home that you have to face that you don't face in an office. I don't have to worry about pets jumping into my webcam view. It's I have to shut the door if I know that I'm on a call and I know that there's a chance that the dogs might jump into the view. I have to shut the door. So there's different strategies working from home that you have to take to maximize your productivity and also mitigate the risk from working from home from you know spouses or children or anything else. So what do you
Yeah.
personally do? What do you personally do to optimize yourself?
Oh, for myself, um, I well, it's funny. So I work from my bed on my laptop, and it's just easy for me to do because especially with the kids, if they end up waking up a little early, I'll just have them lay next to me and I'll give them some screen time or something like that so I could finish up on work. And because if I'm in another room, they just follow me wherever I go. So it just doesn't matter where I am. If they end up waking up, I just have to end up stopping work. But if they are, at least if I'm early mornings or during nap time, I usually just work from my bed where they are napping close to me because they'll nap longer if I'm there.
Yeah.
So I get more work done as well too. So that's just kind of how I do it. I'm just working from my bedroom. And like you said, if I'm feeling very low energy, I'll come down to my living room where I have more lighting and just be able to sit and try and get more done because I think it does matter where you do some work sometime and I will say working from the bedroom is not ideal for some days because I just end up falling back to sleep too. So every
Now,
day, it's
do
really
you
day by day.
do you cut out the weekends? Do you catch up on weekends? Like, how are you managing? I love that you said early AM nap time at night, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, when does it stop? Like, when's husband wife time? Do you take the weekends off? And how have you set this up to where it feels different?
Yes, very good point. I will say when I first started my blog too, um, I was putting so much energy into it that I was not giving the attention my husband needed because I was like, this was my baby. I was putting my I was all into it. And I realized at a certain point, I'm just like, I don't feel close to my husband. And it's because I was putting so much energy into this that I really had to find a balance to make this work because it can work, but it just really takes like putting my computer down and just saying, okay, I'm done for the day. You just have to really force yourself to stop working so you can continue to have a happy marriage and
Right?
be mom. It's so hard to turn it off. I will say it's hard. It is hard and it can get stressful, but I do I have a to-do list and I really live and die by that. And I set realistic goals of each day of what I can actually get done. So I feel more accomplished when I can get those things done. And once they're done, I don't need to still work. I mean, because I honestly could just sit at the computer working all day. But by giving myself those tasks, once I complete them, then I know that I can shut the computer off and spend more time with my family because that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I can stay home and be there with my kids and with my husband. So, yeah, it's just really forcing myself to know when to turn it off.
Did you have a learning curve? I mean, you said at first it was kind of like your grind, grind, grind. When do you think at what point did you kind of achieve that balance that you're talking about now?
Um, I would say I don't know. Maybe I can't remember the timing, but I know it took a little bit of time. And I know it was another time that the house was a mess. And my husband came home and he was like, I don't know how long this blog thing is going to work because, um, you know, the house isn't being taken care of. You're not really there because you're working so much. So it really just took a good like wake up call to say, I gotta figure out this balance. So maybe I don't want to put a date to it, but maybe it was like 6 months into it where I was really just starting to get a nice flow of what I was doing as starting my blog and then trying to just balance everything at the same time. And I also just had a baby at the same time. I had my daughter in March and I was on maternity leave for 3 months. So, and after that maternity leave, then I was able to really know that this blog thing could work. And that's when I did quit my job. And because I felt more confident that this online business thing could actually work. And that's when, that's when that probably happened because I had to figure out the balance at that point because I wasn't wanting to work.
Yeah, balance is so incredibly important because especially working from home, there are work from home positions that don't work with anyone else, and then there are at home positions that work with a team.
That's true.
And overwhelm is a thing. It's very easy when you have people who are not in your space, so you can't actually physically show that you're busy or show that
Exactly.
you're occupied otherwise. And to set those expectations and those boundaries, not only with yourself, but with the team that you work with as well, and the clients. I know personally, I have one client who still will send a text message at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And I have had to develop not only the understanding within myself that just because my phone goes off at 1:30 in the morning does not mean I need to answer it, but
Exactly.
also when I'm hiring talent for this particular client, to let them know that just because you're communicated with at a certain hour does not mean that you need to respond. And just because a message that comes across says ASAP, it doesn't mean right now. It means inquire further on what the true deadline is. I think deadlines get really important when you're working from home.
Yes.
When you have really soft deadlines and clarifying those and setting boundaries, it's definitely a good exercise for setting boundaries with people.
That is so true. Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
And so for the two of you, you're used to working from home. I'm used to working from an office and a courthouse, and I am not used to working from home. And I'm noticing some similar things. So it's really fruitful from people that have done this forever. That I am getting emails after hours because even my office managers are home too.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of home, and I'm realizing kind of the expectation can change with that too. Well, I know you're home, I'm home, so why aren't you getting this done?
Right.
And that
Exactly.
demand, right? And then those kind of unspoken expectations um, of, hey, my timeline, not yours. It's important to me, so it must be important to you. And
Right.
who cares if I got to it at 7 o'clock or something like that? So being able to have a start time and a stop time,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
unless it's an emergency, just like normal, right?
Right. Yep.
Well, and this is a beautiful tool as well. And so I did my master's of communications management program at USC, but we were in online remote teams. And the one thing that we would need to do before every engagement, every project that we did, is we would have a team agreement. This is how I expect you to show up for me. This is how I commit to showing up for you. These are the times that we can work together. These are the times that are off limits.
Oh, I like
These
that.
are the bits of
That's good.
technology that we're going to use to have our meeting, so there's no confusion about that. Here are the limits around those technologies. And the project wasn't even allowed to start until we had that agreement in place and turned into our professor.
That's
And
great.
and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. It really taught me to, especially now that I can't go knock on my, lock the door or jump on a plane and fly to another state to nudge a client. I have to really manage these complex remote teams very well. So those agreements are incredibly helpful, and with those agreements in place, then the teams can really operate on a shared vision of this is what's okay, not just with you or me, but this is okay with all of us. and this is how we agree. The other thing that I've seen come up with remote teams is overuse of technology and overuse of systems. So there's project management systems. There's
So many.
uh, there's so many project management systems. There's messaging systems that do project management, like Slack. There's email. There's text. There's, you name it, and there's something for that. And there's so much duplication of effort. So really understanding, because all of these things exist in kind of the office world, but they're used in the office world sparingly. Whereas, or one system might, be used more than the others in a face-to-face situation, but now we're using all of them, and we're using all of them at once. So Whitney, when you're working with by yourself and at a home, you're
Mhm.
working by yourself, but do you work with teams or other people in your work?
Not very often. If I'm doing like a sponsored post or working with, I have affiliate relationships with a lot of brands. So we do communicate a lot, but it's just through email, and it's kind of like when we get to it. It's nothing that is like an ongoing basis. So I really do pretty much work by myself, and I kind of like it though.
That's beautiful. I'm telling the horror story right now.
Right.
So,
It's not all bad, but that's not all the case for everyone.
so
No.
your business then is your blog. Maybe you can
Yes,
say a little bit more about that and how you're making that work for you, because that's such an individualized way to make
it is.
money
It is.
online.
Yes, sure. So I have this blog, Tried and True Mom Jobs, and basically I write articles on ways you can make money from home. And I've really learned and kind of almost mastered SEO, which is search engine optimization. So it's being able to find questions that people are asking on Google, and then I'll write articles answering those questions, and I'm ranking on Google for many different queries that people are looking up regarding to like the perfect personal finance niche. And because of that, I'm always making money pretty much because people are always using Google and finding my articles, and I have ads on my articles. So if people simply just are reading my articles and they scroll past an ad, that's known as an impression. And when you get a nice amount of those people visiting reading your articles and looking through those ads, you make a nice amount of money. And also, if I'm recommending a product or service that I use, or I know that others have used, and I have an affiliate relationship with that product or service, and someone looks at that, makes a purchase, I get a commission off of that as well. So it just kind
Wow.
of works really cool. And I'm so like I want to like strict on what I really promote. I have people trying to give me stuff all the time about like, can you promote this and stuff? And I really, I just do what I personally use, or I know that someone is personally using, because I want to keep my site very legitimate. And people, when they trust you, then they will listen to you and make different purchases based off of your recommendation. So I want to keep that like that, like I have it now, and it's been doing very well. And I started my blog, and I made $5,000 the first year. And then after I finally figured out how to start ranking on Google and things like that, the next year I was able to turn this business into six figures. So it's just
Wow,
amazing
that
on
is
how,
amazing.
thank you. It's amazing. It's a
Wow.
lot to learn, but I always say though, my blog had to work. I didn't have a plan B. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's done so well, because I had that fire under me to really figure this out, and because I had to, I really didn't have any other choice. So I knew a little bit about this, but I never knew as much as I know now because I had to learn it. So I think I
Mhm.
owe that a lot of that to my to why it has done pretty well.
So what would your top advice be to someone who wants to start a blog and make money off of it?
Yeah, so I love the fact how I've been able to learn how to rank my articles on Google. So the biggest thing is to learn SEO, and if you can answer people's questions, because if you think about when we use Google, we really go there because we have a question, and if you can answer people's question, whatever you want to write about in that particular niche, then you want to learn how to do that so your articles will show up. And you can do the same thing by having ads in you can have ads if you want on your website, or you could just have articles that are promoting a different product or service to help someone out, and then you can make a commission off of that if they make a purchase.
How do
So
you
I definitely say to find out what people are searching for, learn SEO, really define what you want to talk about so you can be looked at as an authority in Google's eyes about what you're talking about, because you don't want to just talk about everything, because you won't rank that way. So I guess Google has defined what my site is about, is basically work from home jobs, work from home opportunities. And so for those different queries like stay-at-home mom jobs, right now it changes all the time, but I'm like the #2 ranking site right now for that. And it's just because they know that this is what this site is about, and that this person probably knows a little bit about this. So they just give people the best. What they're trying to do is give people the best answer to their question, and that's all Google is doing.
And how did you get affiliates to join with you? Is that another process, or did they kind of approach you?
Early on, I reached out because I was a nobody, but now it gets easier once you get a nice amount of traffic that they come reaching out to you. But in the beginning, I reached out to them. So it depends on what I was writing about. So basically, if I'm writing an article about something, I'll think about what are some ways that I can help people with either a product or service. And if there's something that I know of that will help my readers out, then I'll approach that company or service and tell them that I want to include them in my article, and if they have an affiliate program. So it's basically just reaching out and asking. And a lot in this day and age that we live in now, most companies do have an affiliate program, because it only helps them get the word out about their company, because this internet is so crowded. So they're trying to just incentivize you to promote what they have so they can make money at the same time too. So it's definitely a partnership that anyone can have. And some brands do have traffic requirements. They want to make sure that you're getting a lot of people to your websites before they even accept you. But there are so many of them, brands and companies out there, that you don't even have to have any traffic to your website, and they'll just accept you, because at the end of the day, if you can promote them and get someone to buy something, then they'll just give you a commission of that. So
Wow, that's excellent. That is so much information. And
sorry.
I love hearing success stories. Like, I just love it. That fire within, that it had to work, there was no other choice, and then the kind of like trial and error journey that
Yeah.
it sounds to me like perseverance, that you did it, you stuck to it, you didn't get lost in the distractions, you didn't change your mind, you didn't add to this. This is my mission, this is my purpose, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
now when you're talking, you are an authority. I've done it, I've made this work. So I went
Yes.
from will this work to I've made this work. So not only can you do the SEO, but you can come from personal experience.
Right. And I've learned to, I personally don't want to do this, but like when you learn a skill and master it, you can teach others and they'll pay you to learn from you. And so I mean, if I wanted to, I could do blog coaching or teach others how to implement SEO, or learn how to do SEO, or because I promote a lot of my articles on Pinterest as well as a way to get traffic to my website. So I could write ebooks on how to do well on Pinterest. I just don't have a desire for that, but I'm just learning now. It just makes so much sense. Just learn a skill that others don't know how to do or don't want to do, and then that is another way you can become successful.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. And there's a whole lot right now that people don't want to do, or they don't know how to do. And they're willing to hire people to work from home to do
Exactly.
that. It's
Right.
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Whitney, for being on Business Therapy. It's been amazing having you.
Thank you so much. This is really fun.
Awesome.
This has been Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional intelligence. I'm Diane Hanson, management consultant.
Christine Salvo, therapist, hypnotherapist, and mediator. And thank you so much, Whitney. That was such a great conversation.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.